How long does a DUI stay on your record in California? Generally speaking, it's 10 years. A lot of people get confused about that. In this video, we're going to break down the priorability of a DUI in California. We're going to talk a little bit about penalties, first time, second time, third time, fourth time, so on and so forth within that 10-year window. Talk about how DUIs that you have outside that 10-year window are actually going to still be used against you. Then we're going to talk about some mitigation, some things you could do to be proactive instead of reactive. And we're going to finish up talking about some attorneys and some things you want to look at when interviewing attorneys to make sure that you have the right attorney for your case, whether it's a first, second, third, all the way through felony DUIs. Let's get after it. First question we get a lot of times is, how long is a DUI on my record, right? I'm off probation. Why does it still count? Well, it counts because the California legislature says it counts, and it's within 10 years of a prior. So if it's 2024, you have a DUI or even a wet reckless, right? It's still priorable just the way a DUI is in, say, 2020. Well, for 10 years, you're on the hook. The next one is a second time DUI, even if you never had a first time DUI. Say you have a wet reckless, you get a DUI a couple of years later, now you're looking at DUI number 2. And after 10 years, the prior DUIs fall off your record, not in the way that no one knows about it. It just can't be used as a priorable offense. But understand this, the DA is going to know about it, the court's going to know about it, and they're still going to use it against you to argue why you should get a stiffer and more strict sentence and punishment than someone who maybe didn't have that DUI from 12, 13, 14 years ago. One thing you also want to keep in mind, a lot of people come in here to San Diego, like myself, lived in other cities, got arrested in other cities, and come here to San Diego and say, why am I being charged with a second time DUI when I never had a DUI? I had a DWI in New York, or I had something along those lines in a different state. Well, that's a really interesting issue, and it breaks down to, do the elements of that charge match up to what a DUI would be in California? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You want to make sure your attorney that you hire knows what they're doing, knows what to look for, and could potentially even affiliate themselves with an attorney in that state where the prior DUI offense may have been, to make sure and possibly challenge whether or not your DUI from another state is even priorable in the first place. Now, this part of the video, I want to talk to you about DUIs and what the penalties are, right? First time DUI, no injury, 0 months in jail to 6 months in jail. Realistically, first time DUI, you're not going to jail if no one was hurt and you have no other prior significant criminal history, but that should not be the end all be all of the discussion. We're talking about DUI programs, talking about fines, talking about driver's license, talking about your reputation, all those things. Even if you think it's an open and shut case, it might very well not be. Super, super important that you at least consult with a law firm that knows how to handle those cases where your case will actually be heard. Second time DUI within 10 years, 96 hours, so 4 days in jail, up to 1 year. Now we could get, into the whole alternative work furlough, CPAC, house arrest, all those things that get thrown around, especially in San Diego. But the bottom line is, it's mandatory jail time, whether you get an alternative or not to. It's a whole other issue. 96 hours to 1 year. Third time DUI within 10 years, 120 days somewhere to 1 year. Fourth time DUI within 10 years, 180-day mandatory minimum, all the way up to 3 years. It used to be in state prison, most likely now would be in county jail. And that doesn't even get into the 18-month DUI program for a second or greater DUI, fines, penalties, license suspension, if not revocation, and everything that comes with it. DUIs are criminal offenses. I always laugh when sometimes people say, well, no, I'm not a criminal defense attorney, I'm a DUI attorney. It all falls under that umbrella. It is a crime the same way any other misdemeanor, any other felony would be, obviously with some nuances that you want to make sure your attorney is aware of and that they have and their firm has the experience in your type of case. Now, lastly, I want to talk about some ways you could be proactive and not reactive when dealing with the DUI, whether it's your first, second, third, fourth, so on and so forth. Being proactive would be making sure you deal with what you need to do with DMV. A lot of times there's a 10-day rule. Within 10 days of your arrest, you got to request a DMV administrative hearing. Otherwise, you're probably going to lose your license just because you didn't do it to begin with, even to request that hearing. You also want to be proactive and not wait. If you get arrested in August and your court's in the middle of October, don't be calling law firms and start researching law firms the weekend before your court date. Be proactive. Give yourself some time to go through it, whittle it down to a couple of choices, meet and interview with that staff, those attorneys at that firm, to have your case evaluation to make a comfortable decision, and then listen to that firm that you ultimately hire, where they may be telling you, or at least they should talk about the possibility of being proactive, maybe getting enrolled in a DUI program as soon as possible, getting you a referral for that, talking about potential for character letters, if it's an alcohol issue or a super high blood alcohol level in this one instance, AA meetings, self-help meetings, residential treatment, outpatient treatment, alcohol monitoring devices, whatever the case may be. And you also want to make sure you hire the right attorney that is not going to take your case and say, okay, you're one of 70 DUIs that I've signed up this year, and not really dig into what makes you tick, and what matters to you may not matter to somebody else who may charge with the same offense, and the same outcome to you may mean the world, and to other people it might not. So it's essential you keep all these things in mind, first, second, third, fourth, all the way up to felony DUIs, and what those possible punishments would be if you find yourself facing multiple DUIs in California. In this video, we broke all the possibilities down in a nutshell. First, all the way to fourth and upwards of a felony DUI, starting at a first-time DUI, the penalties. We talked about being proactive, not reactive. We talked about what to look for in an attorney. We talked about out-of-state DUI priors and what to look at there. Hope you found this video helpful. If you have any other questions, you can always reach out to us, and we encourage you to share this video to someone who unfortunately may be going through a similar type situation. Like this video on YouTube, reach out, give us a call with any additional questions. We'll always be able and willing to help.